who have really impacted the Harlem community, and their work is really significant because it reaches out to a population that is not often thought of. I want to welcome you to our guest from GiGi's NYC, Harlem. Today I have Malik Jabbaar, who is actually an ambassador, Yamira Siu, who is the co-president and mother of Malik. We also have Sister Lateefah Abdul Jabbaar, who is an NYC volunteer and grandmother of Malik. Now, Sister Lateefah has an extensive history in Harlem, and we got into that in the last show, and I can't wait to revisit that. And lastly, we have Frank Sawyer, who is a board member for GiGi's NYC Harlem. Thank you so much for returning to the show. How are you doing? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Sister Kazaya. I will start off. My name is Yamira Siu, as you graciously introduced me. I am the co-president and the mother of Malik Jabbaar. We have been a member of GiGi's Playhouse for over 8 years, going on 9 years, since its doors opened in Harlem in 2012. And I'm excited. I'm excited to look forward to 2021 and bring the Playhouse to the Harlem community again. We have such an amazing new team. We also have a community that's ready to get back, hopefully in the Playhouse. We are temporarily closed due to, of course, the COVID. So we're hoping to reopen, but we're very excited with some of the programs that we've incorporated since the pandemic. We have a wonderful event coming up in the next couple of months, which we will speak about. But I'm also very excited about our Down syndrome community because they are looking forward to returning to some sort of normalcy, correct? I think we're all just about had enough of this pandemic, but, graciously and hopefully things will get back to some normalcy, as I mentioned. I'll introduce you to, Malik Tabar, who's, as you mentioned, our ambassador.
Hi, and good evening. This is Malik Jabbaar. I'm 16 years old. I'm a junior in high school.
Yes, thank you so much, Malik. I'm so glad that you are a part of the show because during the last time we were on, which was right before the big gala in 2020, we were talking about how well you're known in the community and how many people know you and the impact that you make on others. We're going to get into your experience at GiGi's. And so I really want to welcome you and thank you so much for being on the show, Malik.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes. Okay, so let's hear who else is on the line with us.
I'm Lateefah Abdul Jabbaar, and I'm smiling broadly because that's my grandson, Malik. Oh, my gosh. I am a native Harlemite. Proud to say a Harlem baby, born in Harlem Hospital, the old Harlem Hospital, of course. And thanks again, too, for having us on. I'm a part of GiGi's because my grandson is there. And wherever my grandchildren and children and now great-grandchildren are, guess what? You're going to find me there. So I have been coming in there and seeing the programs that they have, sis and family. It's just so wonderful. We're glad that we're in Harlem. I'm glad specifically that we're in Harlem, but we're glad that we're in Harlem because the Harlem community, the loving kindness of Harlem comes through the walls there at 117th Street where we're located. And it's so wonderful to see when our children go out to the park and when they're going through the streets and they're back and forth, people are asking, who they are, and they're looking in the windows, and then they see that beautiful picture of my grandson on the window there, and other children there. And it's just a great thing to be there. And we're going to be sharing some things. So specifically, what I'm doing right now is volunteering. And I volunteer. We have what's called the Family Fun Time, and it's every other Sunday. And it's such a great time on, we're virtual. And we're doing movements, we're singing, we're dancing, we're talking, we're pretending, and we're just having a wonderful time for that half an hour. And that's something that I really feel great about, and we had it today. So I just wanted to introduce myself. And I'm here as we move along to give some more information Thank you, and thank you, Harlem.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I can't wait to get into that. Now, and last but not least, we have board member Mr. Frank Sawyer on the line.
Yes, hi, Kasai. How are you?
I am great. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Frank.
Right. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having us on this morning. So I've been working with the Playhouse as a volunteer for about 8 years. I discovered GiGi's NYC when my brother came to live with me, and that was about 8 years ago. And as impressed I was, as much as I enjoyed the folks that have Down syndrome, part of our community, I learned so much from the families as well. It's just an awesome place to be. So I've worked there for about 8 years and happen to be a volunteer. Really excited to be here.
Yes. Can someone tell us a little bit about GiGi's? It really does seem to be a jewel in the community because there may not be a lot of services or places quite like GiGi's. Can someone tell us what is GiGi's and why is it so impactful in our community and why do we need places like GiGi's?
I can speak to that, Yamira, if you'd like. Thanks again. So we're the only organization that's in New York City, the entire city, that is solely dedicated to the development of individuals with Down syndrome. And that's all ages. That's from birth all the way to every phase of life, including adulthood and beyond. We're three things. We're a community center, we're an education center, and we're an awareness center. Community center, all of our families gather to celebrate. We empower each other. We attend programs and lectures. We really promote self-esteem for those with Down syndrome and their families, and we're advocates of those with Down syndrome. And so we're also an education center. We have weekly educational programs. We have social programs because our mission is to really empower people with Down syndrome to engage more fully in their homes, their communities, and schools. And then as far as the awareness center goes, we're dedicated fully to changing New York's perception and beyond of those with Down syndrome. That they're members of our community, and we appreciate them. We recognize, like Lateefah was saying, recognize embraced by all. So our goal is to be part of the greater community, to have our diverse participants be fully included, to be their whole selves. And ironically, they make the world a better place, those with Down syndrome, because of their authenticity, the way they perceive the world, the way they interact with people. It's just awesome. It really is. And we even have expecting parents as part of the Playhouse. When parents oftentimes get the diagnosis, they call the Playhouse looking for information, looking for resources, as they're deciding about the term of their babies and raising them, etc. And we have, this fall, we had 3 members of our Table Talk community, which Yamira will talk about, that were pregnant with babies with Down syndrome. So they were already part of our family before their babies were even born. And it's quite amazing. So that's about the Playhouse.
Is this a free program? Is there a cost to this program?
No, everything is absolutely no cost to the participants, but the way we pay for the programs is by having fundraisers and galas, etc. So there's no cost to the participants. Every single program is no charge.
Okay. I'm going to direct the question to Yamira at this point, and we spoke about this before, but the experience of being a mom of a child with Down syndrome, what that means and how you had turned that into an opportunity to enrich the community.
Absolutely. Malik is my youngest out of 4 children. We also have been in Harlem for over 22 years. When we received the diagnosis with Malik, the doctors did their job telling us the resources that were at our fingertips, especially with the National Down Syndrome Society. But we really, as time went by, from the medical standpoint, we had all the resources. As he grew up a little bit, socially interacting, we didn't know specifically what centers, recreational centers, if there were any at that time anyway. We're talking about 16 years ago. And when we heard about GiGi's Playhouse here in Harlem, and we live like 20 blocks away, I was ecstatic. And I remember as if it was yesterday, how when those doors opened, and I was like, oh my God, there are other children just like mine. So that was a relief. And it also gave me the hope that, Malik will not be on won't have any friends. I mean, he has friends at school, but I think GiGi's, as I call them, GiGi buddies, they're just so loving. And to be in that type of environment, where we all are sharing a common goal of making sure that our children are accepted, they're included, and also have the opportunities as their peers, it gave me hope. It lifted sort of like this load that I had on my shoulders, saying, "Oh my God, is he ever going to make friends? You know, what is this circle of friends going to look like?" But it's been such a joy, his growth, just communicating, speech, socially. It's a very unique place, and we're hoping to expand, as Frank has mentioned. We've outgrown our space because of the number of families that, as we encounter, there are more and more families that have children that are being diagnosed with Down syndrome, and I welcomed it. I saw it as a blessing, and I said, you know what? I have my work cut out. He's going to be just like any other typical child, and we are so happy with his growth. One of his goals as the years went by was to be the ambassador of GiGi's Playhouse. I'd never talked to him about that. He's heard enough conversations. He's seen his other two friends who have been past ambassadors. And he started talking about that a few years ago. And he says, well, you know, he asked me, he says, "Mom, can I be an ambassador? What does that mean?" I explained it to him, and I said, yeah. I said, your time will come. I said, you're still young, you know. And, you know, we didn't even think this was going to be possible because there are other amazing children and individuals at the Playhouse who are older than him, who, you know, I thought, okay, they're gonna be named, but, you know, lo and behold, we thank the board of directors for selecting Malik, and we're grateful to Frank. Frank has been a good friend of ours, and we've been always rallying for Malik. So anything is possible. I guess it's my message to the Harlem community, the families that may have a loved one diagnosed with Down syndrome. And as Frank mentioned, our Playhouse we serve our community from ages newborns all the way to adulthood. So it's a place that everyone should feel welcomed. And I hope that when we reopen, that we'll get some more visitors.
Oh yes, that is really an awesome story. It's a jewel, and you turned a situation into a jewel that supports others in our community. I would like to hear from Malik. Malik, I'm really glad to have you on the show. You know, it is awesome that you are now an ambassador and you're 16 years old. I'm sure you are a inspiration to other young people like yourself. And so, Malik, welcome to the show again. And tell us a little bit about your experience in becoming an ambassador and what that felt like.
Thank you. I've been talking up front of the Playhouse and talk about acceptance and inclusion. We can do anything, just like everyone.
What does this make you feel like when you are able to help out and you are able to, help other people? How does it make you feel, Malik?
It's first, I feel happy about it, and thanks to my mom, I know we'll be so happy about being an ambassador and sharing this to all communities and with children with special needs.
Yes. And one more question I have for you. In our last interview, we spoke about how you know so many people in the neighborhood and, you impact the people in the neighborhood and you are an inspiration for others. So, Malik, when you look to the future, what do you think of? What would you like to see in the future, either for yourself or for, GiGi's Place or just for other young people who may be impacted by Down syndrome? What are some things that you would like to see in the future?
So, thank you for sharing that, Kenza. So in the future for myself, I wanted to be independent I want to move out in Hollywood and see my cousin. So, and like what you said before, Kansa, about our future GG Playhouse, we need more big space and we need more big hits of the program.
I love how you are advocating for Gigi's Place. You are like, we need more space, we need this, we need that, and that's awesome. It's like you're already a board member. Listen, I hear that. And, you know, just being able to say that you want to be independent and you want to live on your own. Malik, you are an inspiration to so many people with Down syndrome and people who don't have Down syndrome. I really want you to know that. You know, seriously, you are a 16-year-old young man who is pushing through odds. You are definitely a jewel.
So I'd like to add something. As he was talking, I was just grinning and feeling good. You know how we grandparents are. Ever since Malik was an infant, really, Malik has inspired people. He would always be the curious one, always mannerly. Always mannerly. When we walk down the street and people say, "Hi, Malik, how you doing?" He'll say, "Do you know my grandma?" And he will introduce them to me, introduce me to them. And that's how we met. That's how he met Sister Aisha. Yamira and Malik were out in the park and it was snowing. And they were playing in the snow. And Sister Aisha started speaking to them. Little did she know that Wallace was Malik's father and that she knew me. I mean, she knew Wally, she knew me, but she didn't know Malik and Yamira. So that's how it happened. And when we see Malik, when I see Malik, my heart just goes, just opens up. And when you see the people are so protective of Malik, when he went to elementary school there in Harlem, and he used to come out of the building, the people were there protecting him. I'm talking about youngsters as well as the adults. The storekeepers know him. Everyone knows him. Lloyd over at the chamber, all of them know him. That's his uncle Lloyd. Everyone knows him. And from the time he was small, I called him my handsome genius. And that's just what he is. He is not only for young people an inspiration, for all of us older people. And publicly, I'm saying again, Malik, you know I'm very proud of you, and I'm here to support you. His siblings support him, his father, his mother, his other grandma, his aunts, his uncles, his cousins. Everyone is out there supporting him, and we're ready to go to Hollywood when he goes there as a designer.
Oh, it's a designer. What type of designer?
I want to do fashion stylist, but not as designer, but I will do my best I can to move out there. I like to see myself doing a movie actor.
Oh, yes. I see that too. Fashion styling, acting, yes. And you know what? We are definitely supporting you, Malik, because you represent all of us. You push through. Let me say this. Life is hard, right, for a lot of people. And sometimes we get stuck in life. And sometimes we may not see the gift that we have. And so it's like, okay, I can't do certain things. So when we meet you, Malik, and we hear your story, you push us further because you have a genuine energy that is just like, I get it. You just push forward. One thing I want to go back to, Sister Lateefah, is your experience. I know you're a very proud grandmother, and I know you were smiling during the conversation because guess what? I was smiling too while Malik was speaking. I want to get into your experience in Harlem and how Gigi's Place has impacted your life and how you are watching Harlem evolve.
Thank you. Well, growing up in Harlem with my mom, my dad died when I was younger. So she's a single mom of three of us. And she had us enrolled in all kind of programs. It was the Harlem Club. I was at the PAL. Then I took dance school with Grace Giles, and she had classes over at St. Philip's Church. So I was always involved with things in Harlem, and the spirit of people in Harlem is just a lively, uplifting, love-filled spirit. So with Gigi's coming there, I said, I have to give back. I have to do something. I have to help this spirit continue to grow. And how wonderful it is that because my grandson is there, and I did it with my granddaughter, Sade. She was going to school there up on, what's the school? Oh, God, I forgot the name of the school with Dr. Hodges. Up on 150, I just went blank. Anyhow, I would volunteer over there as well. So, and I taught dance in Harlem. My dance school was always in Harlem. With each one teach one, I was there in programs. So this is just a continuum. And I am so glad to have that continuum because, otherwise I don't know, I would have found something to do in Harlem, you know? So just being a part of GiGi's there in Harlem brings back the memories of what programs did for me while I was a youngster.
Yes. Now, Malik is definitely doing his job as an ambassador. And you were saying that GiGi's needs more space and GiGi's has needs. Frank, you informed us that the needs are met through fundraising. So tell us about any upcoming events or things that are going on that we should know about with GiGi's.
First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit very quickly about the very first person that I met at GiGi's Playhouse was Yamira. And she opened her arms up to me and my brother like you would not believe. And then through her, of course, we met Malik. And Malik is indicative of the people of the Playhouse where their arms are open. They're curious. They're appreciative of each other. And we don't have competition within the Playhouse. We have support from each other. Everyone wants everyone else to be their best selves, to be as great as they can. And then to have Lateefah involved is just absolutely awesome because it shows the whole family being interested in the growth of their loved ones. We have siblings involved. And it's just really awesome. And when people come to the Playhouse, they say that they're struck by the amount of love they feel when they walk through the door because of that support of each other. And in order to provide that, we do have fundraisers. We have a calendar we're having this year in October. And then we're having a fashion show that's going to be in April, I believe April 22nd. And that fashion show is going to show all sorts of members of our community. It will be virtual online. And it will have people fashioning, modeling clothes. There will be people talking about who they are. There will be talent. It's going to really be incredible. So we have sponsorship programs for that, which are up and coming, which we'll be able to offer to people to support the Playhouse if they would like. Because it's great to be in the Harlem community because of who the Harlem people are, because of the community and the programs all across Harlem. And also we want to support Harlem, right? Because that's where we live. So we encourage our people to come to Harlem to go to the different businesses, right? The restaurants, the shops, etc. So that's where we support Harlem as well. And Yamira, is there anything you'd like to talk about regarding our fundraisers?
Thank you so much for that, Frank. And as Frank mentioned, Frank and I, we met when he walked through those doors with his brother Peter. And Peter, I must say, I was overjoyed to see an individual with Down syndrome at a much older stage, right? I've never met anyone at that age with Down syndrome, so I learned a lot by being around Peter, being around Frank, and it was truly a blessing just to see also the accomplishments that Peter has learned being at the Playhouse. So in retrospect, you know, we can talk about the Playhouse, the community, Malik, but really the message here is to let Harlem know, and those who are listening this morning, that our doors are open to everyone. You know, we want to see the accomplishments, the growth of everyone with a loved one with Down syndrome. So our doors are open to everyone. The fashion show is one of our most exciting and fun and inclusive events that will be on April 22nd. It'll be virtual at 7 p.m. We will have more details on our website. I think we haven't mentioned our website. If people are interested, our website is, they can go to GiGi's Playhouse, one word, GiGisplayhouse.org/New York. Make sure that you put New York in there because we are the only playhouse here in New York and in Harlem. And then one of the biggest events worldwide is World Down Syndrome Day, which is fast approaching on March 21st. And that's a huge celebration of embracing Down syndrome all over the world. And we normally also have events surrounding that day. Unfortunately, it'll be all virtual, but it's a good thing because we can connect as the event is called World Down Syndrome Day. We can connect with everyone all over the world. We are also happy to announce, as Frank mentioned, our gala will be coming up in October. It'll also be virtual. So a lot of these events are found in our website on our calendar. So I encourage our Harlem neighbors to tune in and stay posted. And we can always, right? We can always, as a nonprofit organization, we can always use a little help from our friends, as we say. But it's all about giving back, right? It's all about working together as a community. Harlem is strong. Harlem has a lot of influential people. We have great neighbors here, as Lateefah mentioned. Our neighbors look out for Malik. Our neighbors look out for one another. So Harlem is the place to be. That's basically it. There's just so much to talk about, but those two programs and I should say events fast approaching. We would love for our community to stand behind us.
Yes. As you were talking about the fashion show, I couldn't help but think about Malik. Malik, how are you feeling about the upcoming fashion show?
It's fun and exciting, and it was popping,
I have one more question for you, Malik. Do you think you would be, are you looking forward to using this as inspiration for when you start designing your clothes?
Definitely, yes.
Yes. You can do it. Now, I just want to jump to one more topic, and it has to do with when the Playhouse will be reopening. Is there any idea of how things will be maneuvering? Because I'm sure everything is virtual due to COVID-19. But is there any idea how you guys will begin to strategize for the rest of the year?
So just like any other organization that is going through this pandemic, we are looking at the news. We are following the CDC guidelines. Our hopes were to open in the spring, which is fast approaching. But with all the news that we have been receiving lately of the second wave and now the vaccination, we're looking into all these different news that's coming out. But virtually, I must say things have gone very well. Most people are probably burnt out. Logging into Zoom, logging into GoToMeetings, but there is a need. We get emails and text messages from families asking us when are we going to reopen. But as you know, with the Down syndrome community, not only do they have a specific diagnosis, but they also have other underlying health issues. So we have to be very, very careful in what we, as we start planning to reopen the Playhouse. And even when we do reopen, we may have to do a hybrid, as most organizations and businesses and restaurants doing a hybrid version of how many people could be indoors. So, but with fingers crossed and hoping that everyone in the world, in the community, follows their social distancing and all the guidelines that the CDC and all our experts give us. We're really hoping to down the road open, and I think the children, right, Malik, are dying to see one another in person. As you know, people with Down syndrome are very lovable, huggable, and they miss that. They're happy to see each other virtually, but they can't touch each other, right? They can't hug each other, the high five. So that's missing, and I think that's a big part of what they're experiencing right now through this pandemic.
Yes. And again, if anyone has a family member or they just want to volunteer, because they're touched or moved by what we spoke about today, and they want to volunteer or they want to help out, how can anyone get in touch with the organization?
Thank you. So, as Lateefah had mentioned, it's GiGi's Playhouse NYC. We are located at 116 West 117th Street. That's between Malcolm X Boulevard and Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard. Our office number is 646-801-7529. That's 646-801-7529. And as I mentioned earlier, our email address is www.GiGi's that's GiGiSplayhouse.org, /New York, all one word.
I really do enjoy having you guys on, and I really enjoy this interview so much more because Malik was a part of it. And again, Malik is an inspiration to me personally because hearing his story makes me feel like I can do the things that I need to do, and I mean that. And so if there's anything that you want to impart, Sister Lateefah, because I know you're a proud grandmother, I would love to hear it.
Yes, thank you. As a volunteer, I want to tell you some things that I'm doing there with our GiGi's family. Every other Sunday, as I said, we have the family fun time, and it gives the children an opportunity to see each other. And the parents are on there, and we're dancing, and we're moving, and we're singing, and we're acting, and I'm getting crazier as I do it, and I'm feeling wonderful. And today we had a little one. This was the first time she joined us, and she was sitting in her high chair. And her father said he came on because he wanted to see what was going to happen. And let me tell you, it made my heart feel so good because by the time we finished, she was waving her hands up in the air because I had them going, we're going to wave our hands up in the air and show that we really care. And she was waving her hands and she was moving, and just seeing her light up like that warmed my heart. So that's one of the programs. Then we have our table talk with our parents and caregivers. And what we do is we're on, and Yamira is the moderator, and they're sharing with each other different things that they're going through, how they're feeling. When we started first after the pandemic, they shared what was happening to them, what they were doing, how they were feeling, and it's so wonderful to be there. So what I do is at the beginning, I give a little inspiration. I mean, sometimes I do my own poetry. Sometimes I share Langston Hughes, he's my favorite male poet, or Maya, or Tupac Shakur, all of the philosophers, I'm talking about. and just sharing that with them, because everybody at this time is affected by the pandemic. And with the caregivers and the parents of those with Down syndrome, they have an extra layer to that because they're also extremely concerned about their loved ones, the children that they are taking care of, to make certain they're in a good place. So this allows them to go through and share that. And it helps me to understand that I'm not here for myself. I must give back. So thanks again, Gigi. Thanks, Malik, and all of GiGi Playhouse. And, we're talking about Yamira. My son is Malik's father, Yamira's husband, and he is so instrumental there in Harlem, too. He's a child of Harlem, too, now. He was born in the Bronx, but Harlem is there, He's there in Harlem, and we just keep it rocking and rolling. And that's what I wanted to share with you, how it feels to be a volunteer at GiGi's.
Well, I'm sure you have impacted someone in our listening audience. And I just want to let you guys know, so many times in this interview, I kept saying how inspired I was. But I want to just say that many of our listening audience people have been affected by the pandemic. And many people have lost their jobs. Many people have passed. Many people are not well. You know, there's so many different things that people are experiencing. And so when you hear about uplifting things like this, and it might be minor, but it gives you the opportunity to remember that if you have your breath and you can do certain things, you can make a difference, and you can put one foot in front of the other and you can take the step. So I hope that today's interview was able to impact someone, to let them know that sometimes things may not seem exactly the way you want it to go, but move forward, keep pushing forward to get to the next space, and you never know, you may just impact someone else, or you may create a Gigi. So I want to thank everyone for being on this call this morning.
Thank you so much for having us. And, you know, it's been a blessing to all of us, and we are here for the community, and we look forward to embracing everyone.
If you would like to contact Street Corner Resources for job opportunities or support within the community, you can call 212-694-8759. Again, that's 212-694-8759. You can also follow Street Corner Resources on all social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Street Corner Res, R-E-S. Again, that's Street Corner Res, R-E-S. We are sending you peace and blessings from the CEO and founder, Aisha Sekou.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
If I work hard at it,